Welcome.
Hi,
Oh, you're very polite tonight.
I'm the Stepford husband. I just came back from camp.
I got an upgrade. And he bakes cookies.
Would you like a cookie, dear?
I would love a cookie, my love.
We will have cookies later. That's boring. I'm not going to do that.
It's
Hey, everyone.
Still needs some tuning.
Yeah. It's
Oh my God.
hard for me to come up with boring things to say.
Lovely weather tonight, isn't it, dear? We're terrible at being polite. Welcome, people. This is survival coloring day something.
Day after day after day.
I'm Lisa Mitrokin, and this is Tech Support.
Tech support.
My lovely assistant, who is also a member of Space Force. From the Department of Space Force, not that other Trump stuff.
Space Force is recruiting. Colorists.
The Coloring Space Force. Speaking of which,
our ships.
that's right. That's why we need colorists. So we will actually have a Space Force party, which I'm planning for June. It will be a weekend stream, and it will be blinded. It will be one of those long weekend streams, like a mermaid stream, except it's going to be Space Force. We may set up a tent.
Space tent.
Space tent.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It'll be a habitat.
And we'll have space dogs.
Space dogs, that's right. They might have helmets.
And space cookies.
Ooh, liking the sound of that.
And space coloring, of course. And speaking of coloring, tonight's color was chosen by Tech Support. On this Merpups page, you guys have been telling me what to color next and what color to use. And we've done blue, orange, purple, red, brown, black. And last night, Tech Support asked for white. So we'll be making a white goldfish. Do you know how?
White charcoal?
Yeah.
Nice.
And some other things.
I've been paying attention.
But yes, we will start with white charcoal.
Cat's here.
And Cat Ho!
Joe Beth is here.
Joe Beth Ho doesn't work. Joe Beth, hello.
Thanks to all of you who told me my microphone was off. I was, well, you know.
Was your microphone off?
I muted it when I went to the bathroom.
Wait.
I forgot to turn it back on.
So how much did they miss?
No, they could hear me fine through you. Oh. It was very far away. Hello.
Like I said, needs a little tuning. Shall we color?
Let's color. Oh wait, that requires that I load that thing that we made, doesn't it? Isn't it? Yeah. We have a new thing tonight.
We have a new thing tonight.
And so you have to tell us
what's blocking what for whom.
If you like it. Ooh.
We like it, so you will be subjected to it. The fish that we're coloring is this little dude on the top of my page. So since he doesn't need this much real estate on the screen, we thought that you guys could see more of our faces since we're usually really tiny in the corner. So
you get to see me laugh at the chat. Yes, cookie larva.
Cookie larva. Oh, we have some patrons with us tonight.
Yeah, we do.
Only patrons know about cookie larva.
Really, I don't know why I'm so weird.
I don't know either.
It wasn't until we started streaming that I kind of became aware that I'm weird, because otherwise it's just me and her and I'm just normal.
He has no idea. I have an album on my phone called Tech Support Pictures, Adrian Pictures.
Apparently I make faces.
And he has no idea. I show him this album sometimes and I show him the faces that he makes and he's like, I'm really weird. I'll share some of these pictures with you guys in a later show. I'll put them in a little flick for you so that we can all see the best of Tech Support.
They want you to move the fish down so it's more in the center of the screen. Can you do that, or do you want to move the camera?
No. I can totally do that.
Okay.
That will actually help me out a lot as well because I'm reaching pretty far. How about?
That's good, I think.
That work?
Yeah, that's good.
Okay.
That's even better.
That's even better. Oh.
Tell us if you approve.
Yeah. Okay, that works for me. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So I'm using my white charcoal. I didn't have any other pigment on this fish. It's just the background color. That's the actual paper pigment because we're working on tan-toned paper. So the only thing that I did before the stream, I'll get back to that in a second.
That's the best part of this. You just see me giggling for no reason.
The only thing that I did is that I added, we've already started with the background on the water, but I added more dark blue around the fish because, as you know from some of my other tutorials, the way that we bring out the white is with the use of contrast. So having all this dark blue around the fish will help the fish look more white. So I'm going to evenly color the whole thing with white charcoal, and then I will start adding little details. What was that for?
Oh, I don't know. Michelle
Oh my
would
God,
like to know.
it was like 15 seconds ago.
Yeah, goldfish. Michelle would like to know if white charcoal smudges.
It does not, at all. That's why I love it so much. It does not act like charcoal
There
at
seems
all.
to be some disagreement about that point. Other people believe that it does.
Is there? Well, technically it does. Obviously it does because it leaves pigment on the page. So because it powders and you can put it on the page, and I can smear it a little bit with my Q-tip. Like it smears, but it doesn't smudge. Like
So-
I can run my hand over the page and there's no actual drag over the blue.
Okay.
So for me, smear is something like that. Like if I were to move my hand across and there was an actual trail left behind.
Or if somebody like wiped their face on you at the grocery store.
Exactly.
That would be smear.
That would be smear.
White charcoal does not do that. You
But-
can ask white charcoal to put on a mask and it's not going to rub its nose on you.
Exactly. Like I can touch it with my finger, and yes, there's a little bit of pigment left there, but obviously, otherwise it wouldn't stay on paper at all. So yes, it does smudge a little bit, but not like charcoal. If you've ever worked with traditional charcoal, with actual black charcoal, or pastels, then that stuff smears. It's super powdery. Like you can't even breathe near it. You move your page and everything just cascades
You
down.
think
Like,
about it and it
that's
smears.
Smearing.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
It's
definitely.
everywhere. So yeah, I would not consider this smearing. Who else is with us, and what do they want to know?
Well, so there was a patron who said, I'm a patron and I know not of this lens thing. Is there something that they have to do
Really?
to...
Really?
Well, actually, he, she, I didn't see who it was. Whoever it was said, it was Michelle.
It was Michelle.
Yeah.
Michelle, you don't know about lenses. Oh.
She didn't see the cookie larva. They're explaining it to her, but if there's something,
okay.
is there something she needs to do?
Depending on what device you're using, lenses appear differently. If you're on your computer, the lens will actually show up as a big post, and it shows up as a video on the very top of the thread.
But they're short. They're like 15 seconds long.
They're short. You click on it and it plays and it crashes your computer. That's how it works with my, yes, if I play it on my computer, my
Really have to... Maybe I should upgrade your computer this weekend.
it just freezes. Maybe, yeah.
I bought Lisa a new computer a while ago, and it's been sitting on a shelf over there because she's never off of her computer
I'm always-
long enough for me to transfer all of her stuff over to it.
I'm either drawing
I don't think she's deleted
or
anything
editing
since like
or
2003.
rendering. No, I've deleted a lot of things.
No, you haven't.
I have to.
We
I-
installed-
I deleted a picture just this morning.
I installed software that deletes the backup files that Corel makes, because Corel makes backups, and then it makes backups of the backups, and then it makes backups of the backups of the backups.
Corel is this drawing software that I use.
So she'll have like a file, and then she'll have 400 other versions of it that are like dot back, dot back, dot back,
Oh,
dot back,
and I
dot back,
hate
dot back,
them. They're
dot back,
so
dot back,
annoying.
dot back, dot back, dot back,
Like
dot
that.
back, dot 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 back, dot. And I just couldn't have it. It's like, I'm not doing that anymore. So Hazel runs and deletes stuff. Hazel deletes old downloads. That's very nice.
Yes, that is very
Hazel's
nice.
a very cool piece of software if you're on a Mac.
Oh, so anyway, but if you're on your phone, when you go to Patreon, to the app, or the website, I highly recommend that you guys get the app because the app is very friendly on your phone, the Patreon app. Oh, I'm using a new color now. I'm using pastel purple from the Black Widow set. Tulip would also work really nice here. And I'm adding just a little bit of pigment on the side of the fish here with this light lilac. So
It
anyway,
wasn't Michelle, it was Elf.
It was Elf. Okay, so I
can't read.
Can't read. So on your phone, if you go to Patreon, you will see in the banner there will be a circle in the center. I feel like I'm being mimicked.
This is so much fun. Oh, they love this, by the way.
Wonderful. In the banner, there will be a circle in the center, and it will have some random picture in it because it just takes a screenshot of the lens. You click on it and it will play it. And if there's several lenses, they will be in a string, one after another. You're going back to Stepford School.
It was fun. They had cookies.
So yes, lenses are very cool, but they are only alive for 24 hours. After 24 hours, they go to lens heaven, and you never see the again.
Somebody has a question for tech support. Oh, that's lovely. Oh, Adrian raised my head is cut off. Really?
No, not at all. Actually, probably
No,
your video is not.
this much
We can
space.
actually see the
We
screen.
can see it. Yeah.
So no, it's not. Probably your screen is not. You're not scrolled all the way up.
Hang on. Actually, wait. Because what we're saying. Let me make sure that YouTube's not being stupid.
Oh,
would be
that's like that would ever happen.
Yeah. No, I'm looking at the video right now, and there's
no cut. Nothing's being cut off.
Nope. I can see. All right, everybody, you need to tell me if what I see on the stream is what you're seeing on the stream, because my head and Lisa's head are at the same height.
Yes.
And
neither of them are cut off.
Yeah. You can see me like scratching my nose.
Yeah. So that. If you are on your computer, it's very easy to, especially if you're in a chat, also when you're scrolling the chat down, you may have accidentally scrolled the main window down as well. I've done that a million times. I'm like, why can't I see any of the coloring? Oh, because I'm not looking at the entire screen.
They're saying, yes, okay, so I am not as big as Lisa. This is true.
Yes, this is the shrunken version.
They ran me through the wash. They ran me through the dryer. I had this, so like if you dry wool socks, they shrink, right? This is one of tech support's life maxims. You can take wool socks, and you shouldn't, it's wool socks, right?
Wool socks, yeah.
So if you wash wool socks and you dry wool socks, they shrink. Or maybe it's wool sweaters, it's wool something. And my question when Lisa told me about this was, well, how come if you get a sheep wet and then you dry it, the sheep doesn't shrink?
So we have
this whole thing about shrunken sheep. See how many you could put in your pocket.
They're very small and very sweet.
Right, so this is...
Right.
Right, so, camera lesson now, pay attention. That camera is different from this camera. That camera is different from this camera. Lesson over. No, so normally we have the slider set up to actually see both of us. This is a 16 millimeter lens. It's on a micro four thirds, so it's equivalent to like a 35 millimeter full frame lens. And that is something totally different because it's actually a camcorder. So I considered changing this out from a 16 to a 24, but it was like 2 minutes before the show, and I knew that if I did that, something would break.
Yes.
So...
Never change your equipment in the last second before the show.
And never upgrade your software on Friday.
Yes.
That's like production. Never upgrade a production environment on Friday. It is guaranteed that it will break, and you will be working through the weekend.
Yes. I am working with Carmine Red now from Prismacolor, and it's not actually red at all. It's pink. Prismacolor, come on. Get your sheep.
Oh, my mom's screen was scrolled
together.
down.
Ah!
Yeah, called it. All right, I gotta scroll back.
Okay. La la la. Shall we tell them what you did last night and this morning?
Wait. Oh, cookies.
Cookies. Yeah, what do you think I was talking about?
Are you allowed to talk about that? let me try and zoom that one. Oh, the remote's over there.
You want to zoom me out?
I'm going to zoom you out a
huge?
little bit so that
I'm not a giant face.
see just a giantess.
A giant.
So you don't look like Brienne. Interesting. So you're actually...
Or am I already zoomed out? I think I'm actually zoomed in.
No, that's correct. How do you look?
I look lovely.
Are you?
Yes, I am smaller. I think I will be the same size as you.
Lovely.
We'll finally be the same size. It's
That's
like
right.
Alice in Wonderland.
You can have shoulders that can't fit through doors. Oh, yeah, that's a little better.
Do we look more?
It's a little better.
We're almost the same size now. So, do you want to tell them about cookies?
No.
Oh, come on.
No, I'm not done being tech supporty.
You'll never be done being tech supporty. It's your job.
Hang on, I gotta adjust the...
All right, now I'm gonna switch to a black pencil. This is
that's the wrong direction.
the Faber-Castell black.
How's that?
Meow's much better.
Okay.
And I'm gonna use this black very, very lightly. I'm going for a gray effect. So actually, a gray pencil would be ideal. Are you messing with me?
It's like Weasel.
with the invisible paw.
Hello, excuse me.
Gray would be ideal here, but I'm working with all the pencils that I've already had, so I'm not allowed to introduce any new ones. I do have black, and if I apply it very, very lightly, especially over my white and my pink, it will look like a nice soft gray. But certainly using gray is safer because you can't go too dark with gray if it's already gray. But I have this very nice black pencil that's very friendly. You can't accidentally make it too dark. It's actually it's very gentle. So just applying very light pressure, barely gliding on the surface of the paper and making little gray. What are you doing?
I'm not talking. I'm waiting for you to finish. I'm not interrupting you specifically.
Oh.
This is put my hand over my mouth. I will not interrupt my wife.
Okay, you may speak.
But I can actually whisper because my microphone's right here.
You may speak now.
I
am. I'm just adding a little bit of gray.
Elf asks, speaking of computers, I have an old Mac 2011 and I want to get a reformatted Mac. Given that new Macs aren't upgradable as far as solid state drives, what would you recommend? Lisa and I had this conversation, and this is actually one of the problems with her current computer. We got her a Mac Mini, and I thought that it would be fine to just use an external drive for her home drive. She has about a terabyte of files. So I got a Mac Mini that had 128 gig solid state drive in it. And about 80 gigs of that is used up by the operating system and applications, because those run off the main drive, and I put her home directory on an external drive. And generally it works fine. There's some steps that you have to go through to make that work, but then randomly something will reset the USB bus and it thinks that external hard drive has been disconnected. If you've ever used a Mac, you get the little pop-up. It's like, that disk was not ejected properly. You're a terrible human being.
It's so annoying. It always happens in the
like,
middle
I didn't even touch
something.
But when that happens with the drive that has her home directory and there's applications running that are writing to that, it's like if you were talking to somebody and they just kind of had their soul ripped out for a second and you tried to continue talking to them and they're like, I don't know who you are.
Exactly like that.
And you have to reboot the computer. So
you have to like force reboot it too, because nothing responds. You have to
you have to like hard power cycle it, and then you could lose other data. And so honestly, while I disagree with the pricing of flash drives, like rotational drives are not the end of the world. They should just put them back in. But no, it's all flash drives.
Like that?
Yeah, exactly like that. Apple's like, give us your money. What are you going to do? We're Apple. Give it to us. Yeah. Now give us some more.
It is exactly.
But I think given the headache that can come from either not having enough disk space, which is a problem I think a lot of people face in the coloring community because you guys make big files, you have small hard drives, and you basically never have enough space. So either you're agreeing to take on the additional workload of shuffling files back and forth from your main computer to an external hard drive. What hard drive is it on? Do I need to make backups of that? It's just worth it to pony up for the extra storage.
Yeah.
Save a little bit longer, buy the computer with the bigger drive. You will have 2 or 3 years that are headache free.
Yeah, it's totally worth it.
So that's my answer.
Totally worth it.
As far as other things that you can do so we make video content. Videos are enormous.
Huge. And
generally, we don't need them afterwards, but sometimes you need to go back and dig up some old video that you made for something you want to reference something, you need to, whatever.
And it's always the video that you just deleted.
Yeah. So if you're dealing with large files, come up with a procedure. You can buy a 5 or 6 terabyte.
Oh wait, I'm adding Blue Meow.
Okay.
This is Blue Heaven.
You can buy a 5 or 6 terabyte external hard drive for $100-ish. So if you get one of those and then come up with a procedure that says, I'm going to keep my work for the previous month on the computer, and anything older than that, I'm just going to move off to this drive, and I'm going to keep it there for a year. And then once a year, I'm just going to go through and delete everything that's older than a year. If you organize your stuff in folders, either by date or by project, such that you have everything grouped together, then you can just grab a whole bunch of them. You don't have to do it like every week. It's not like balancing your checkbook. Just periodically, you're like, I'm just going to grab everything from here that's older than a week. And if you're using a Mac, actually, there's not anything for moving data off. But Hazel is the application that I mentioned earlier that we use for just keeping things clean. I know that whatever I download into my downloads folder, either I move it somewhere else, or it's like a screenshot or something I needed to look at, or a video I'm processing for work. So I have Hazel, which is Hazel was it free? I don't think it was free.
I think, well, there's a trial. There's like a 1 month trial.
If it does cost money, it doesn't cost very much, and you can set up rules. So you can say files that are, like if you make screenshots, any screenshot that's been on my desktop for more than a week, just delete it. Any file that's in my downloads folder that's older than a month, just delete it. Music files that I download, move over into this other folder. So you can use it for automation if you have tasks that you do regularly to help organize your stuff. And actually, because it can move stuff and not just delete it, you could use it to move content from a working directory to an external drive on some kind of interval. So that's another strategy that you can use.
Nice.
Rain Chains for Less asked a question that I saw scroll by. Where'd it go?
I'm going to take this egg yolk color, which is kind of yellowish, and I'm going to add a little bit of yellow underneath because we have this yellow dog underneath here, and I believe that some of the yellow dog will be reflected on the bottom of this very reflective, very silvery fish. What does Rain want to know?
Rain would like to know why you prefer white charcoal sticks over the pencils.
Actually, there's no difference in the material. I just like the feel of them better in my hand. I like working with charcoal, and this is very similar. I like having like the actual block of white charcoal in my hand. There's literally no logical explanation for it other than it's just something that I prefer. And each of you will have your own preference. So I would suggest try them both. I like the way, I think that with pencils, because the lead inside is so thin, like somehow it crumbles a little bit different on paper than the stick does. Like there's just something more earthy and natural about this than about the pencil. I just like it. And because it doesn't smear, I don't actually get any white powder on my hands. So it doesn't matter. It's exactly the same as using a pencil. And because it's the same dimensions as a pencil, you can sharpen it in your regular pencil sharpener.
Right.
So you lose absolutely nothing. And if you have a pencil sharpener that has a little collector box, you can sharpen it and keep all of your white charcoal shavings in there. And then you can use them as powder as well that you can smear with a Q-tip or a cotton ball.
That's a very cool trick.
Yeah.
Michelle asked, is wax-based better than charcoal? Or is wax-based good over charcoal?
I'm not sure what you mean by that. Wax-based what over charcoal? What?
If you could ask the question, if you could provide a little more information in the question, Michelle, will you?
Yes, because white charcoal it's just, there's only one kind. It doesn't come in different varieties. There can be only one. Like they're different brands.
Charcoal lander.
But it's it's all the same stuff. It's not like there's wax white charcoal versus charcoal white charcoal. It's not even charcoal at all. It's actually chalk and synthetic and fairy dust. So there's nothing charcoal about it. There are wax pencils, but they don't really compare to white charcoal. They're a completely different animal. Okay, and now I'm going to switch to my white pencil. This is a Prismacolor white that I've been using a lot. And I'm just going to see if anything needs a little highlight, because white pencil goes pretty well over everything. Well, white Prismacolor pencil goes pretty well over other colors. So I've been using it a lot lately, especially on fish scales. And that looks pretty good, but our fish isn't shiny enough. So we have to go to our Posca pen. That's
Wax
right.
pencils or white charcoal?
White charcoal over anything.
White charcoal for life. White charcoal is
White
the...
charcoal for life.
It's the...
For me. But remember that you can't put white charcoal over pencils. Like right now, in everything that I have colored here, if I want to add white charcoal to this part of the dog that's green, it won't work. It just doesn't lay over pencils. There will be nothing. Like nothing will happen if you try it. So the only thing that it's good for is a starter. So if you are working with tan paper, then I would highly recommend white charcoal. If you tend to work on white paper, you don't even need it. There's like you can use it, but you don't actually need it. But on tan paper, to establish your base layer with white and then add color, I use it for that. Cool.
White charcoal is the official charcoal of Space Force.
White charcoal for life. White charcoal of Space Force.
Elf asked, what gigabyte size do I recommend for a computer? For me, personally, I won't use anything smaller than a terabyte. Bigger than a terabyte, I think, is too much. It depends on what you've got going on. Now, in my house, I'm a bit of a dork. We have 2 large external file servers that we can also use to move stuff to. And one of them is wired up in such a way we have a super fast network in the house. So we can actually we can work video files directly off of one of those as if they were local on the computer. It's a little bit of a headache to put all your stuff out there, but it's doable. But for working locally, like all of my computers, well, except for this one, this is a MacBook Air, but all of the computers that I actually do work on have a 1 terabyte hard drive in them. And that's fine. Anything, I don't have tons and tons of music that lives actually on this computer right here, or I just stream music. Movies live on the file server. So on my computer, I've basically got software that I use for work, software that I use for music production, and an obnoxious amount of video content. I actually do most of my video editing now off of a 1 terabyte external solid state drive because that's super fast and that allows me to do a lot of stuff without having to worry about filling up my machine. But yeah, a terabyte should be fine. If you run out of space on a terabyte, you've got stuff on there that you're not using.
Yeah.
Oh, Kat's throwing in her tech stuff.
Oh.
She saves by client project, book, and by month. She has files on the physical PC and a cloud system and a backup server that constantly saves from my PC. I do not back up to the cloud.
Tell them how you feel about the cloud.
Yeah. The problem with cloud services, first of all, I'm hyper protective about privacy and data protection and stuff like that. But worse than that is when you build a reliance on an external system and that, even if it's a company that you trust, and that company gets bought by another company and you don't trust them and they don't honor the privacy policy of the company that they bought and suddenly they're farming your data. Google actually used to, with Gmail, they used to read everybody's email programmatically and use it for targeted advertising. And a few years ago, they said, okay, we're not going to do that anymore.
We promise.
We promise. Sorry, sort of.
We didn't realize you didn't like it.
And I just don't like that companies do that. But it's also bad when companies just go out of business. Take all your stuff with them.
Yeah.
So I run all of my own stuff. Now, I'm me, so I have the ability to do more of that. If you have no other options, then backing up to the cloud is good. But I would actually favor, again, I use a Mac, but I would favor just having a network drive in your house that your computers can back up to automatically. Periodically, if you want, you can take that and back it up to the cloud so that if your house burns down, you've got your data outside of the house. That's a good practice. It's called offsite storage. But pulling data back from the cloud is slow. These companies, they just want your money. And remember that businesses ultimately are out to get paid. And they're not there to help you.
They're not there to
help you. They have that as their primary goal, and they are out there to do whatever they can do to get money from you. Yeah. Now, that's not to say that they don't provide a valuable service or that what you're paying for isn't valuable, but just know that you don't have a relationship with them. They don't actually care. And when companies get bought or go out of business, sorry, there you go. And it happens all the time.
Yes, it happens very often and like at a drop of a hat. there's no warning. You just wake up one morning and you read in the news, so-and-so company got bought by so-and-so company.
Oh, Kat's repeating what she says because I'm like way behind in the chat. Okay, I'm going to read the chat. If you didn't see, our own servers and offsite storage clouds, we own ourselves. Good job, good job. If you're looking for cool things, there's C-File. C-File is an alternative to Dropbox. It's open source, and that's a great solution. We use that instead of using Dropbox whenever possible. Dropbox, here's an example. Dropbox, for years and years, you could get lots of free storage if you referred your friends. You could have unlimited accounts, and then last year they said, oh, if you want more than 3 devices connected, you got to pay.
That was so annoying.
So we use a password management system. Michelle says, nice on the albino fish.
Oh, thank you.
She's also an illustrator.
Oh, thank you.
So we use 1Password, and I had my phone, my iPads, all of the computers all connected to 1Password through Dropbox synchronization, so that if I was on one computer, my passwords were there, and if I went to another computer, my passwords were there. And suddenly they said, oh, you can only have 3 accounts unless you pay. And suddenly 1Password was no longer usable. And they only did it because they realized that they just needed more money. Things like that, I don't like having to deal with them, so I try to build.
Don't.
Yeah, I just try to build a world where I don't have to. So C-File is good as a Dropbox alternative. There's another really cool one called SyncThing, also open source, that'll do, you can run SyncThing without a central server, and that'll do synchronization of folders between devices. So you can run that on 2 computers, and then they share cryptographic keys, and you can say, replicate this folder from here to there, and they just do it when they're around. When they're not around, it doesn't replicate, and then they reconnect, and they're like, oh, what have you changed? And they like swap files back and forth. Also very cool for data synchronization. And if you're interested in other stuff, I'm not going to drown Lisa's show with technology stuff, but I have lots of self-hosted cloudy things that you can use yourself.
Technology and art go hand in hand. We can't have one without the other, especially in this modern day of streaming and sharing files and saving videos and all that. So I'm going to call this guy Done, the one on the top. Oh no, the black goldfish was called Done. This one's going to have to be called something else.
He can be Finish.
Finish.
And the other one is Done.
And Done. And what about this one when we complete him? He can be complete.
Okay, but he's
naked right now. We'll have to work on him. So
he's also not in the frame, just so you know.
He's in the frame. Oh.
Maybe we should define what in the frame means. There you go.
Here he is.
Such a pretty fish.
How's that?
C-File is C-File free. C-File, it's S-E-A-F-I-L-E. They do have a paid service, a cloud version that you can use, or you can run your own C-File servers if you have, I know a lot of you don't have access to server type infrastructure, but Kat does. If you know somebody who has cloud infrastructure, they could host something for you. I would actually use C-File over Dropbox if I could. Mm-hmm. It has more features. One of the things is Dropbox, you get one library. C-File, you can have multiple libraries. So you can have, it's like, imagine within one account, you had a Dropbox for work, a Dropbox for home, a Dropbox for family. C-File's like that. You can set up user accounts and give different people access to different things. When somebody needs to send me a file, I can create a share and designate it as upload only, and they just go to a web page and drop a file. They can't see the file, but it shows up and it gets automatically replicated to my computer. My dad does that when he wants to send me cool movies of pilot things and stuff that he finds, or funny cat videos. So it's just a much more effective product in my mind.
Cool. I'm glad that people are interested in this stuff. It's like they want to learn the wizardry.
Oh, Cats suggests that perhaps the naked fish could be Pouty.
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 Okay.
Okay. His full name is actually Powder.
Powder's a good name.
Meow, is it time for cookies?
Now's the time.
How do you want to?
Remember,
How do you want to introduce them?
It has sound. Well, as you guys know, those of you who know me know that I love making silent films. So while tech support was making cookies, I was the camera crew, and this morning I made this little silent film that we will share with you now. really good.
We're back. I thought we had more time.
These are very large cookies. So you guys get to hear us chew.
I don't want to stop eating it. I'm sorry.
They're really good. Oh.
I muted myself.
I didn't mute myself. I'm just gonna try to chew quietly. But it's so good. I'm gonna keep chewing throughout the show. So there were 2 tries with the cookies. And actually they all came out fine, but you saw in the video that he tried really hard to arrange them nicely and everything. He was waiting for them to come out, thinking that they would all be nice and round and uniform like these guys. But the first ones got all melted into each other, and I didn't care. I'm like, whatever, cookies melted into each other. But that face that you saw in the video, that was legit. He wasn't acting. Like, he was genuinely upset that they all melted together. So he did the whole thing all over again and rearranged them again and left a little bit more space, and they came out round the second time. And somehow that makes a difference. Like, they're still the same cookie, whether it's round or not.
Okay, imagine this. Imagine that you're sitting there and you're watching The Matrix, and Neo goes in and he hooks up, well, there's no hookup, but he meets the Oracle. Sorry. Neo goes in and he's like, yo, Oracle, what's up? And she's like, just a second, Neo. Just a second. Oh, there they are. Just perfect. And she takes them out, and it's this misshapen glob of cookies. And she's like, delicious. You would not have the same response to the movie. You'd be like, that Oracle lady, she don't have any clue what's going on. Do not listen to her. I baked you a cookie, and if you eat it, everything will be fine. Like, dude, stay away. Crack cookies.
He did. He made crack cookies the first time. But we are eating them, nevertheless.
They're delicious.
They are delicious.
They're delicious. They're
very, very well done. They are chocolate chip.
They're chocolate chip cookies. They are cookies.
Cookies.
They're chocolate chip cookies. Sugar Rush coming on.
Yes, we've been eating them since before breakfast. Actually, they were breakfast.
We don't normally eat breakfast, so it's okay.
We eat breakfast on weekends.
That's true. We eat pancakes on weekends. Everybody on the internet knows that.
Everybody knows that. It is known.
And sometimes she puts ice cream on the pancakes because
grown
I'm grown up. So yeah, these are chocolate chip cookies. They're intentionally large so that they could be thick and chewy. They're relatively soft.
Oh, I thought they were intentionally large so that there's more of them to eat.
No, there's to be the same amount to eat. You just have to eat more.
Oh. But it's like once you start a cookie, you have to finish it. Whereas if you have lots of small cookies, you can just have 1 or 2. But if you have one large cookie, you can have one large cookie, but you have to finish it.
I beg to differ. How many people remember that cereal that was the little tiny chocolate chip cookies that like could hardly constitute a cereal? There wasn't a single piece of grain in there whatsoever. But
it was just floating cookies?
It was basically little tiny chocolate chip cookies that you poured milk on and then you ate them. I wonder why kids were like going to school crazy. So the tall cookie idea, I saw some of you asking about that. The tall cookie idea came from the recipe itself, and it's because they were chilled. So we put them in the fridge overnight. And so that when they melt, basically, they don't spread quite as far as if they were already cookie size. They would have just gotten flat, and then they wouldn't be chewy.
Yes, these are delicious.
Alice is like, how are you not 500 pounds?
We're not actually sure. We don't watch our weight or what we eat.
Oh, you're going to make them all hate us. We burn calories by thought. Actually, I just spend all my time chasing her.
We do. Well,
Can we tell them about the journal?
Oh my God. Yes, you may tell them about it.
Finish your story.
No, I have a mouthful of cookie though.
For what?
Oh, for all of you people who get offended by watching people eat, we apologize. We didn't actually plan on this. But you're stuck with us now. So you get to watch us eat cookies. Sorry. Like Peter McKinnon's viewer who was like, stop eating on the show. And now on every show, Peter McKinnon makes a big deal out of eating chips or pizza just for that one guy.
Ice cream sandwiches. What a great idea.
That does sound good. Okay, you want to tell them about the journal? About chasing?
Yes. So I wasn't... All right. I told you Mrs. Marcellus had me like write in a journal and then she would write back to me rather than talk to me, and I don't know why.
That was his teacher, in case you missed the Tuesday episode.
Yeah, well, Mrs. Marcellus is a recurring theme on this show. But to be fair, like, I don't want it to seem like she was a bad teacher or anything like that. I was in 4th grade, so this was a long time ago, and we all didn't know as much about psychology and human interaction as we do now in this golden age of whatever we are in right now.
In this golden age of Peterson.
But if you look at all of my teachers that I had, there's only a couple of them that stick with me as teachers that did something to try and make my life better or different or something like that. Mrs. Marcellus made a tremendous effort in trying to get me to not be a little tyrant. Despite the fact that she failed.
She tried to
She
bake a
tried
cake.
really hard. That's an inside joke.
She tried to bake a nice cake, but she failed.
So anyway, I was reading through some of those journals, and it was actually really difficult because I have this, we look back on our memories through the light that we want to see ourselves. And we all want to see ourselves as good people and people who...
Admirable people.
Yeah, admirable people. I was not a good child. I was not a good child. For whatever reason, like I was precocious, I was intelligent, I was unsocialized, I was 2 years younger than everybody else. It doesn't matter.
You were difficult.
Nobody should have had to deal with me.
Nobody.
Nobody. Not my parents, not my teachers, not the police, not nobody. So reading back on these journals was actually very challenging for me. Hearing, her ask me why I was in timeout all the time and stuff like that. But there were some things that were really funny, and that's one of the ones I want to share with you.
It was very cute. He read it to me after the Tuesday show.
I got in trouble for chasing my girlfriend.
Karen.
Karen Roundy. I remember her. So I got in trouble for chasing her, and Mrs. Marcellus
Wait,
was
that
like,
was one of your girlfriends?
So Mrs. Marcellus writes back, is it possible that she didn't... Oh, right, because I gave her an asthma attack by chasing her.
Wait,
and
no, she caught asthma because of you.
And Mrs. Marcellus was like, I don't think you can catch asthma. Maybe did you give her an asthma attack? And I was like, yeah, maybe that was it. So this is like a paragraph at a time that's going back over several, I don't know, days. So yeah, I gave her, she caught asthma for me because I was chasing her. Mrs. Marcellus is like, well, maybe she didn't want to be chased. Did you think of that? And I was like, no, I don't know if that's true. And then it goes on a little later on, there's a bunch more back and forth that was not funny. And then it gets to how did I introduce? Something happened where I said that I had 44 girlfriends.
Yes, you had these little surprise notes in there.
Oh yeah,
that was
right. Yeah. So
and they were like little papers on the paper. There was a little paper, and you had to lift it. And as soon as you lift it, it goes, surprise! I have 44 girlfriends.
Here are some of their names, and it's listing. It's like this list of girls.
Some of their names. I can't remember them all.
There's like 9 names or something, and so I list like names, and I remember these girls from being in 4th grade, and none of them were my girlfriends. And so I say I have 44 girlfriends, and Mrs. Marcellus writes back, oh, how many of them...
She's like, you're quite popular.
You're quite popular. How many of these girls know that they're your girlfriends? And I say, about 39 of them. Zero.
Aww.
Anyway.
I like the about part. About 39.
About 39.
So confident.
How old was I in 4th grade? If most kids were 9, I was 7.
44 girlfriends at 7 is quite impressive.
Yeah. Anyway. I asked you guys last night if you wanted to do the awareness exercise where you look at the things around you and you say, what is this? Why is it here? And what can I learn from it? And I'm curious if any of you did that with things in your environment and had any sort of insight into otherwise mundane things that you are surrounded by every single day.
Yes, please put it in the live chat. Yeah. What is the everyday thing that caught your attention last night or this morning?
Yeah. And if you didn't, that's okay too.
Yep.
You're just going to fail the class. Elle says I should have said 42. That was before Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, but yeah,
nice.
that would have been funny. I might have ended the universe if I had done that.
That's true.
My dad says that, well, what my dad wrote, I understand what he means, but it's actually kind of funny. So my dad says that I got the one girl that matters. And that's true. And he says that he got the one girl that matters for him, which he's referring to my mom. But actually what he wrote is that both you, yes, but you and I got the girl.
Oh, not true. It's not true.
Is there anything I need to know? Oh, my dad is really sweet to my mom.
Yes, they are adorable. Is mom here too?
Mom is also here.
Hello. Oh, what else do we have in our notes that we can entertain them with while they write about their everyday objects?
Have we told you guys? It's funny, you can't answer. Let me phrase that differently.
That's the beauty of live stream.
Well, you can, but it takes several minutes.
And we can absolutely ignore it. No, don't.
I'm going to draw a G on
No,
you.
don't G me. Do you want to tell them about this G thing?
No.
They're not ready for the G thing?
That's for another time.
I have like a thing in my eye that I keep scratching at. The end.
All right.
It is a bit of mascara.
We saved some trees today.
We saved some trees today.
My dad says, haha. And Sherry says that you turn several shades of red.
I believe that. Oh my God.
Whoa, Cindy says she played the awareness exercise with her cat at 3 a.m.
That's wonderful.
What was your cat doing? Was it like yowling or making noise? Or did you just wake up at 3 a.m. and say, why are you here, kitty?
Maybe, yes, maybe that was the game. What is your purpose here?
Yes. What is your favorite color?
What can I learn from you? Meow. Meow.
I used to do that with Weasel, Weasel the cat, where he would just be yowling or he would be unhappy about something, and it was easy for me to be like, shut up, or like chase him around the house or something like that and be like, just be quiet. And all it would ever do is make him scream louder. Because whatever problem he was telling me about was a legitimate problem in his little cat world. And it was difficult for me to accept that he's a cat, so he has
And cats are weird.
different needs, and they're probably simpler than than what I'm attributing to his screaming. And just to go give him a hug. Frequently, that's what he wanted. He just had some insecurity, and he just needed to just get a hug. And so I'd go spend a few minutes just laying on the bed with him and petting him, and
He was a sweet cat.
he would calm down. And I determined that there's basically 4 things that cats need, and it was my job to verify that those 4 things had been satisfied before I was allowed to yell at the cat and chase it around the house.
Or take it to the vet. Because it could also be that. Like somebody could have poured acid on your cat's back.
There are people here who don't know that story. We'll tell you that story in a second. Again, just to fill it was flea drops, and they burned his back, which sometimes they'll do.
Yes, apparently he was allergic
Anyway,
to that one.
4 things that a cat needs: food, water, litter, and love. Before you can yell at a cat, make sure that those 4 things are
Present.
to the level that the cat is willing to accept. Oh, Cindy says that her cat decided to play Chase Me this morning and ran up and down her legs.
No.
What?
What?
Oh, Dad just got the blue screen of death on his computer. Did we do the awareness exercise on that one?
Yes, can be. What are you? Why are you here?
Why is this here? What is it trying to teach me? It says reboot
You boo.
and buy a Mac. Macs have their own problems. They don't have the blue screen of death, but they've got this little sad, sick computer icon that pops up sometimes.
Oh, with a thermometer?
Yeah, with the thermometer. Cynthia says that her cat does not want to be held and loved at all.
Oh.
Some cats don't.
Some cats don't like to be
Some cats
touched.
don't.
Samara didn't.
Oh, that demon creature.
Yes, we had an actual demon cat.
We've told that story.
Thankfully, it ran away.
Oh, we saved some trees though.
That's
tell them
right.
that story.
Tell them about the trees, and I will continue munching on my cookie.
Okay, so it's starting to get cold. And actually, I saw somebody ask a question about if winter was here. I'm not going to be able to find it because there's no
Winter's
search
coming.
function. But is it getting cooler here? How's your what? You have a mouthful of food? Yes, it is getting cooler here. It's quite cold in the morning. We bought a whole bunch of really high quality firewood this year, and we discovered that we can stuff the primary stove right before we go to bed, and the firewood is dry enough that it just smolders throughout the evening. And when we wake up in the morning, for the first time since we've moved here,
steam.
the entire house is actually still very warm.
Yes, we have wood stoves. We live out in the country, in country in a wooden house, and we have wood burning stoves.
Stove, what a terrible idea.
Terrible idea. Wood burning stoves, and actually, in Chile, there is no such thing as central heating anywhere. Even if you live in the city, you don't have like radiators or heaters or hot water pipes like some countries do. People just have space heaters with propane, and then they breathe the propane. So they open their windows and let all the cold back in, and it's a never-ending game of hot air, cold air. But out here, everyone is so spread out that it's okay to burn wood. In the cities, it's no longer legal to burn wood because of the smog problems. But out in the country, where we're all several hundred feet away from each other,
meters away from each other.
Yeah, it's solely still legal, so everyone has wood-burning stoves, and it's very nice and cozy. But it's important to get the correct kind of wood, and it's important to have wood that you've dried thoroughly over the summer.
Which we didn't know when we first moved here. We just bought some firewood, and it had been freshly cut. And something that we learned is that if you burn wet wood, not only does it not burn, but the majority of the heat that it produces goes to evaporating the water so that it can burn, and it doesn't make anything warm at all.
And it's actually what makes the smog. If people burned proper wood, there wouldn't be such a huge pollution problem in the winter.
Yeah, dry wood, once it's up and burning, doesn't actually make any smoke. It just burns cleanly. Well, we're from the city, so we're forgiven for not knowing that. But something that endlessly surprises us is that people who've lived out here in the country
for centuries,
their family used to own all of this land, and they were born in the same house that they live in now 65 years ago.
And a lot of them are tree farmers.
They still will go out at the beginning of winter and cut down green trees for firewood.
And it's like just shifted by a year or two.
Know
that winter is going to come every year. Just prepare dry wood. But it's always a surprise to them. They don't even do it in the summer. They wait till the first rain, and then they're out here cutting green trees and dragging them home and burning them immediately. Like, what are you thinking?
In general, we don't care. We just find it one of those interesting things about where we live.
We just laugh at them.
Except over here, on the other side of this river, we have a river over here and we have a river back there. On the other side of this river is a small little piece of land, and the back part of our house looks out, and there's beautiful old trees out there. And they will come to cut trees there because Chile is very protective of the public access to the water system. So rivers and lakes and beaches, they're all public. And there are laws where that govern, you have to give people access if it's the only point of access and your property is between them and the beach, for example. You have to have a pathway through your property that they can navigate to get to the beach. In our case, they can get to the river from the other side. There's this tiny little, 20 meter wide, 50 foot wide piece of land that has trees on it, and nobody really owns it. So they'll come over there and they'll start to cut the trees down. And they'll cut down big, nice, healthy green trees to cut up for firewood. So we've taken it on ourselves to defend that piece of land, not only because it's our view.
It's actually illegal.
It's also illegal.
We've spoken to the police about it. The local police department knows this very well. We're the gringos.
For good reasons.
For good reasons.
Everybody knows this is
Everybody knows this is the... But the cops really like us. We stop by and we ask them questions. We're like, so we do this. are we in the right to do this? Like, we run people off because they're cutting trees. Like, are we correct, or are they actually legally allowed to do this? And the cops are like, no, they're not allowed to do that. You call us and you wait and we'll come there. Except if you call them, they show up in like the next 6 hours, if they show up at all, and by that time everyone's gone. So we just run them off.
So generally we run them off. And we've picked up various strategies for doing this. But when you go over there and you say you're not allowed to cut wood, they say, oh, it's public. And that's their idea. They will actually, they'll steal
Gravel.
Yeah, our road until recently wasn't paved, and so they would come through periodically and they'd lay down another layer of road base and they'd run grader over it and stuff like that. And guys would come out there with their trucks and they would just start shoveling literally the road into the back of their truck. And we go out there and they do it on the piece of road in front of our house. We're like, what are you doing? They're like, oh, it's public.
It's public.
That doesn't mean you can take it.
Yeah, and they're like, we're not taking it from your house. It's like, we would be having a different conversation
they're like, why do you care?
Taking this from our house.
Why do you care? It's not yours. Okay, we care. So same thing. Trees over there, they're like, it's public. We can take them. I'm like, well, if it's public, it means everybody can enjoy them. And if you take them, then nobody can enjoy them. They look at us like we're crazy.
They don't understand.
So we stopped trying to explain it to them, and now we just roll up and we say, where's your permit from the municipality that allows you to cut wood? And they're like, we don't have one.
And we
like,
started
okay.
by filming because the cops also told us just get them on video.
Well, that's a whole other story. In the United States and civilized countries, you can get people's license plates if they do something wrong, and then you can show the license plate to the police, and then the police can look up the license plate and find the person. Not in Chile. They not only can't look up license plates, but the license plate is tied to the vehicle, not to the owner. So if the person bought the vehicle and didn't change the ownership of the plate, then the registered owner of the vehicle is not the person who's actually driving it. So they just won't even look it up. We've reported crimes from people trespassing, and they're like, oh, did you get a photograph of their identity card? I'm like,
why would they give it to us?
No.
They're like, what were their names? Do you know them?
Were they your neighbors? Do you know where they live? No. Oh, well, we can't help you.
If we did, we wouldn't be calling you.
So we've run people off, and we're prepped for the beginning of winter for people to start cutting, and the first one happened today. But this is a different time. I don't want to just go rolling out there and be breathing on people, and we got to maintain social distancing while we're telling them.
Having people breathing on you.
And whatever. So I fired up my drone, and I do that for recon. So I heard them cutting, and I flew over, and I was watching them, and I descended to about 25 feet above them and just hovered. And they looked up, they saw me, they packed up all their stuff and left because they also know that we're the only ones with a drone. My
favorite part is that they always leave. They start screaming. They're also, like, they start getting confrontational every time. And of course, they're like, oh, you're a foreigner, like, blah, 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 go back to your country, whatever. But they're like, it's legal, you don't know anything, you're a foreigner here, we can do this, and we continue filming. And we're like, well, if it's legal, you won't mind us calling the police right now, will you? And then we just start calling the police, and as soon as the phone rings, they pack up and leave, like, really fast. I'm like, if you have nothing to fear, why don't you stand your ground? Why do you pack up your stuff and leave? And they, like, leave all the wood, they leave everything, and they keep cursing, but they drive away, and they never come back. We never see the same vehicle twice. So that to me is the funniest thing, that they'll
these are problems.
They will leave every time. But this time they left from a drone. We didn't even come up to them.
Yeah.
It's like, what's the drone gonna do to you? Like, if you really think that you're doing something legal, why are you running away? And you already recorded anyway, so.
Yeah. Well, they think drones have magical powers.
They do. It's pretty funny. But trees were saved. Some trees were saved. They managed to cut down something. All right. What else is happening in the chat? Did anyone else play the game?
Yeah, Della said that she was looking at a picture that she had framed, and she was able to follow the life of the picture from the time that she recorded the digital copy through the printing and the framing, finding the various people who have those skills.
That's wonderful.
It's nice.
I like that story a lot. We're like really over time, aren't we?
Oh, yeah, I'm not even looking at the time today. We're eating cookies.
We're eating cookies. It's a cookie stream.
Oh, I want to make soap.
We've been
People are talking about making soap.
Forever.
Yeah.
We even bought everything from you.
We bought everything. I bought a silicone dish, and I bought I was just going to start with some simple olive oil? We bought olive oil, right? Not olive oil.
You bought some other kind of
oil. I bought some other kind of oil.
That's cheaper than
Sunflower oil? I bought some kind of oil. I don't
Maybe
remember. It's in the other room.
sunflower
And sodium hydroxide. And I was going to make, which is a lie, and I was going to make soap with it. And we just haven't. That's my story. It's terrible.
We did make cookies, though.
Yes. Cookies or soap?
Or soap.
I still have soap in the bathroom, and I don't have any cookies in the kitchen. So priorities.
Priorities.
No, I think I bought a big thing of like low quality olive oil.
Maybe.
Yeah, like
Maybe.
not,
I just
not
remember
good
it
olive
being
oil,
like
not what we
super,
would actually cook
super
with.
cheap.
Yeah, because I'm going to make soap for the first time, and I'm guaranteed to mess it up. So I didn't want to use the good stuff. And for those of you who told us that Birds of Prey was enjoyable, we owe you an apology.
We do. We're sorry.
We discovered that the completely legal copy of it that we were watching legally, we discovered that when we saw it in the theater,
There was a lot missing.
there was a lot that was missing from it, and we didn't realize that. We just
and we're
watched.
like, what a terrible editing job. Who puts these movies together? There's no plot line. You don't get to know any of the characters. Where did the hyena come from? What is going on here? Why are they all fighting?
Why is she wearing that silly shirt?
Yeah, and it was actually really good.
Yeah, we watched it again, and
In
we
proper
really enjoyed
quality.
it.
We loved it.
Yeah, we really enjoyed it. So
thank
we
you.
retract our earlier statement. We were misled by the internet.
By the internet, correct. Well, the reason is we would never do such a thing. And in fact, it was the first time that we watched such a crappy quality movie ever in our entire life, our collective life. But I was preparing for the Harley Quinn color along, and I had only seen The Suicide Squad, not Birds of Prey. So I wanted to know as much about the new movie as possible, but it wasn't out in the local theater. It was, but it was dubbed, and I will not ever see a dubbed movie because it's stupid. It kills all the acting. So we opted out for the next best thing, and it turned out to be awful. But thankfully, we were corrected.
Got schooled.
Yeah. So we were wrong. We're sorry.
That's exactly what we felt like sitting there on the couch
We won't do it
with
again.
Harley Quinn reaching out, being like,
Yes, with a baseball bat.
the baseball bat. That's right.
Yeah, it was wonderful. I have no complaints.
Yeah, we're super totally over time. We're even over the overtime.
Oh my God. Okay.
We should probably wrap it
Well,
up. You got a poll.
Poll. Okay. So these guys are done, and we have our whitefish. Ta-da! Whitefish.
They look great. Pouty and finish.
Pouty and finish.
Powder. His name's actually Powder.
Powder and
He
finish.
goes by Pouty.
There you go.
Pouty to his friends.
Pouty and finish. And this guy is done. This is done. The blackfish, we did him yesterday. So there are some changes in the air. We are coming up.
That wasn't me. I think the dog just walked through.
Not that kind of changes.
We were in the kitchen the other day. Lisa was cooking something, and Shelby was sitting at the edge of the kitchen, and she's being very obedient. Yeah, and Lisa dropped a piece of bacon. And she's like, Shelby, I think I dropped a piece of bacon. Can you find it? And Shelby just ripped this fart, just staring perfectly straight face.
Like a lady, like
just
a total lady.
Ripped it. And I was like, yeah, Shelby dropped the bacon too.
Shelby dropped some bacon, so now dropping bacon is that. So not that kind of a change in the air. But, we spoke about adjusting to the environment and adjusting to changes and constantly adapting to, what works best for everyone. And this stream is certainly an example of it. So we're coming up on 30 days of survival coloring next week. And it has ceased to be survival coloring in the time that we've spent together.
We survived.
We survived, and now it's just coloring. We stopped talking about COVID. We stopped talking about coping. We're just hanging out and coloring, which is wonderful.
Which we really enjoy. We love this opportunity to tell
Yes.
stories to you and help you guys smile and laugh and stuff. But it has come at a cost.
Correct. So many of you are also asking for the recorded tutorials to be brought back because
Right.
you missed them. And also we have a lot of full length 2-hour weekend shows coming up. We have the Black Widow stream coming up. I do my private lesson with the Feather Wolves. That's coming up on the 17th. That's a 2-hour stream. Then we have the Space Force party. That's going to be a 2-hour weekend stream. So we can't have the daily streams and all that other stuff. And the reason that I know that we can't is because we tried it for Mermaid. We did the full week of survival coloring, and then the weekend madness with the stream and the tutorials, and I've come very, very close to burnout over that weekend. So I know for a fact now, having tried it, that it's just not physically possible to bring you all three of those things: survival stream, recorded tutorials, and weekend epic events. So I've started a poll in 3 places. There's a poll running on YouTube in the community section. If you guys don't know that such a thing exists, I didn't either. I just discovered it a month ago. When you go to my main channel page, you can see videos, playlists, community. If you click on that, that actually pops up with posts and polls that I post for you guys. There's a poll there. The same exact poll exists in my Facebook group, Tom, which of course the link to it is in the video description. If you're not already a member, join. And I'm also running that poll in my Patreon group because not all of my patrons are on Facebook. So the poll is the same, the questions are the same. What would you like to see more of? And of course, I'm not canceling any of these things. We'll still do survival coloring eventually again, or if there's a week that makes sense to do a full week of just these things and no weekend show or no recorded tutorial. So none of these things are going away forever. I would just like to know what to plan for the rest of May and June. So to help me, I need you guys to find that poll and to vote. Please vote on one thing only, because telling me that you love all of those things is very flattering, but it's not helpful. I really need to make a decision. So far, getting more recorded tutorials is winning by quite a lot, which I'm excited about because I also miss making those things for you guys.
Yeah, there's a lot of production that goes into them with the prep and the editing and
yes, actually, each one of those 15-minute tutorials takes at least 3 days to produce. So do keep that in mind, 70% of people who don't watch them to the very end.
Who you are.
And also keep in mind that sometimes there are surprises that you're missing out on. So
that's true.
It does pay to watch those till the very end, and they're only 15 minutes. So, you know, I put 3 days into them. Watching them all the way through is really not that big of a deal. But with the live streams, what a lot of you are coming back with is just because these meetings, these survival coloring episodes are live, people who are not able to join it live just don't watch them at all. And there are several hundred people who are not watching these shows because they can't join live because they're in a different time zone. And that is unfortunate because I did try to make a big deal out of these being episodes more than live events, that they can be watched at any point in time and enjoyed. And certainly there's a lot to learn from the technical point of view. But there's still this stigma of if it's a live event and I missed it, I'm not going to watch it. So that's also something that's a lot of people are just not watching my channel at all right now because I'm not producing anything other than live shows. And that is unfortunate because I am not entertaining those viewers either. And so I realize that I can't please everyone at the same time, but I can do my best. And I ask you guys to please help me. So do put your vote in a poll and I will adjust to whatever you guys vote on. So that is my final word to you. And next week we'll run Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. And on Wednesday will be day 30. And I'll run the poll all through the weekend. So on Monday, we'll actually know what the verdict is. And we'll announce that. And I will also have a new set to announce. There's some new art being released next week. So stay tuned for that. Goodbye and farewell.
So long, farewell, auf Wiedersehen, goodbye.
What should they not lick now?
Boom. Boom.
Don't lick.
Cookies.
No, you can lick cookies.
How about tonight? How about we give them something that they can? Quick, get it. 10-second rule.
No.
I'm sure that those wood shavings that it's laying in won't harm you.
Goodbye, people. Lick whatever you want.
Oh, okay.
What?
No, we can't go. We gotta get some good.
What?
They gotta not be able to not lick something. Don't lick
Trees.
trees. Don't lick trees.
Don't lick trees. Especially green ones.
Don't burn them either.
Bye.
Okay. Bye, everyone. We'll see you. Wait, is today Thursday?
We'll see them on Monday.
We'll see you on Monday. Have a great weekend. Be safe. Bye-bye. Clear audio. Don't lick cows.